guys, welcome to What the F. I am so pumped about today's guest. Before we get started, I really want to thank Neurelis and SK Life Science for believing in What the F podcast and making conversations like this possible. My guest today is Tiana Goss, and she is an amazing singer-songwriter. You may have seen her on The Voice, or you may have seen her performing somewhere in LA because that's what she does, and it's awesome. I am so excited to have you here, Tiana. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. This is a total fangirl moment for me because I've just been following you for, it feels like forever, and it's probably been like about a year, but I just love your music and I love what you do.
That means so much. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here. And before we dive into, The Voice and stuff, because I feel like for me especially, I love that show. But just kind of I wanted to get into your epilepsy, where it started, because it's fairly recent.
It is.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed in 2020. So I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I officially got diagnosed in 2020. I think the first time I had a seizure, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I had no idea. But I was at my house and I was sitting on the couch and I was watching something, and then all of a sudden I blacked out. And then I came back to it and I was like, what the heck was that? I was so confused and it was weird, so I wrote it off. And
I feel like that's such a common story.
yes.
So many people will be like, something weird happened, but I just didn't.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Because we don't know. And
No,
so
I
you
had
just
to-
kind of, like you said, you just write it off. I
Yeah.
have an experience like that too. I feel like so many people are like, yeah, it was just something weird, but I just kept going.
So that's what I thought. I was just like, okay, that's weird. That's it. And then 2019, it started happening more. But the first time it happened, which is so crazy, I was in the studio. And I was in the booth recording, and my boyfriend was recording me. And I started making these sounds. It was I was making these sounds into the microphone. And my boyfriend was like, Tiana, are you okay? And I didn't, I wasn't fully there. And my boyfriend opened the booth. He was like, are you okay? And I was stuttering, and it freaked my boyfriend out. And so that was the first time that I was like, okay, that was weird. And he played back the recording, and I was like, what the heck? I don't remember doing that. And so my boyfriend, he was the first person to see that. And then for some reason, it kept happening. It kept happening. And then there was one time that we went for a run, and this was early 2020. I went for a run, and I came back, and I fell on the floor, and I wasn't saying proper words. My boyfriend filmed it. He didn't know what to do, and he filmed it, and he was like, we need to go to the doctor. And I refused, because he said it before, and I refused it because I was like, I'm fine. But then when he played that video back to me, I was like, okay, this is not fine.
Yeah.
So
and can we just take a moment to give props to your boyfriend for recording
oh my God.
it? Because I mean, not many people would think of that, which makes sense, but that's one of the most helpful pieces of information you can have, especially when you go to a doctor.
Yes.
And you're like, we have it on film,
So exactly, and that's what we did. We had it on film. We sent it to our doctor, to my doctor. But it sucked because it was during COVID. So I got diagnosed during COVID, and we went to the ER, and it was just a nightmare. It was a nightmare trying to get into the hospital. Honestly, it was a blur, but I was able to get into the hospital, and then I had a neurologist. I have a neurologist, and she's awesome. Shout out Dr. Lai.
It's so great when we get good neurologists.
It's hard, but luckily I have someone that cares. But eventually I got the diagnosis, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, this is a change for me.
Yeah. It's such a just complete
Yes.
world upside down sort of moment where you don't really realize how much your world is about to change.
And it just was weird because it happened all of a sudden, out of nowhere. And so, and I looked it up because I was just like, why is this happening? I don't know if that's common. I don't know if it's common that you get it later in life.
I don't
know.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's not uncommon, but it's also and sometimes people can trace it back to something or possibly something, But it's also one of those things where it's but maybe we just don't know because it's the fucking brain.
Yes.
And the brain is like this fucking mystery that we're still have no, I mean, like even the top neurologists will be like, well, it's kind of a guessing game with epilepsy.
Yes,
We
yes.
just throw
It's so
a drug
broad.
at you. Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like,
Yeah.
and like I've been doing research. It's so broad. There's so many terms, and like there's still so much you don't know.
Yeah.
So then once I got the diagnosis, I started a bunch of different medications. We started off the lowest dosage, still had seizures. We upped the dosage, still had seizures, and then I got up to the highest dosage of that certain medication, still had seizures, and it just bummed me out so much. It was just like, what the heck? Like, this keeps happening. I'm taking all this medication, and one, I sucked at taking medication. Like, I grew up like hating it. Like, oh my gosh, like swallowing them, it sucked.
just a lot to adjust to.
Yeah.
And then it's heartbreak over and over again. Every time an increase of medication fails, every time a new medication fails, every time you go like a week without a seizure and you're like, oh my God, maybe it's over. And then boom.
All of a sudden.
Yeah. It's just, it's that heartbreak over and over again.
Yeah.
How did you like get through that? Or how are you getting through that right now? Because I mean, like you said, you're still kind of an epilepsy newbie. I mean, I've only got like 3 years on you. I don't have much more on you.
Really?
Yeah. I was diagnosed at 32.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, but I do know a lot of adults where like it just came on out of nowhere, and I feel like that has to be so frustrating.
It sucks, honestly, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that has had that, where later in life that it happens. But you know, it was really a bummer because I would just like have a small streak and then I would have a seizure and I just cry. I'm like, why is this happening to me? Luckily, my boyfriend, he's awesome. He's been there through almost every seizure. But it just was a bummer. I never cried so much during COVID and even beyond COVID. And it was, you know, I'm still getting through it.
What a time. Yeah. Like that look on your face. You're like, no shit. Like,
yes. Like, what the heck? And then, of course, my dumbass catches COVID like 3 times in 2020, catches it a shitload of times in 2021.
Poor thing.
Having seizures, I don't know. And maybe like me, I try to think like maybe me getting sick and getting COVID, does that have something to do with it? I have no idea. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But I'm still getting through it. I'm still
Yeah.
getting through it. And luckily, I think I found a dosage that works, which I'm happy about. But like I was in a long streak and then like a week ago I had a seizure. And so I'm just like, and then medication is so rough, like taking it morning and night for potentially the rest of my life.
Right.
And just thinking about that honestly can be a bummer. But,
Yes. And the side effects of the medication are so brutal to adjust to. Like I became a different person.
Did it really affect you with your medication?
Yeah, it affected my lifestyle in the sense
Really?
where like I kind of became like old lady-ish, where it was
You think
like,
so? Really?
yeah, like I needed to go to bed earlier and I needed to like you know, get a like significant amount of sleep.
Yes.
Kind of tone things down. If I push myself too much, like if I work too much, I'll have seizures, which the irony of doing epilepsy advocacy and then having seizures because of it is fucking hilarious to me.
No, I get it.
But like right now I'm at like 1 seizure a week. And you know, it's just that
That's
like,
a lot.
yeah. And you know, I went for, I don't know, like 6 weeks without one and it was awesome. And then you kind of forget that it's a thing, right? I don't know if you feel that way where all of a sudden you're like, I forgot that this can happen, even though it just happened 6 weeks ago.
Yes, especially for me because I had like a 3-4 month streak and I was like, yay, I'm taking my medication every day. I'm getting, and I agree with you about the sleep, like going to sleep early. Like usually I was able to stay up till like 11, 12, but like I go to sleep at like 10 o'clock unless I'm doing like a show or something, but my bedtime is early and I try to get at least 7 hours at the very least. Because if I get anything less than 7 hours, I get worried that that could potentially be me having a seizure the next day.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So
okay, so you did say like, unless I have a show or something. So I am just like, I'm so dying to know about like your journey with music and singing and like where that started and also how the hell you do shows, because I just look at you like every time I see a reel of you performing, I'm just like, how? But before we get into that, I just want to know like, where did your love for singing and songwriting start?
Yeah. So I grew up singing like pretty much my whole life. My mom realized that I can sing, and I was shy. My mom was like, "Can you sing for the family?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "I'll give you $5 to sing." And I was like, "Okay."
Hell yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you're basically hiring me." So I'm like, "Okay."
That's a good lesson to learn early,
It
though.
is.
Like, I will do it. You have to pay me, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my mom would do that, and I'm like, okay. So, and then in elementary school, I sang, I played violin, I played piano, and then I went to a performing arts middle school, and that's where like my love of music grew. And, I was just, born and raised in Los Angeles. I was around like music my whole life. And so middle school, I did a bunch of singing. High school, I was a theater nerd. I was in every single musical. In high school, I was in every single choir show, and that was just like, I was a theater nerd.
I love
It's
it.
my whole life. So that's where my music grew. But I was always scared to like put out my own music. I was always nervous about that because it's one thing singing other people's songs, but singing your own is kind of like, ooh, it's kind of scary.
Why is it scary? Just because I know nothing about this.
Yeah.
Like, so from someone totally ignorant.
Yeah, it's just so personal. And then
Sure.
people are judgmental, like, and you're just scared, like, are they going to like these lyrics? Are they going to relate?
Yeah.
And
what a
so-
vulnerable thing.
Very. And so at a certain point, like 2017, 2018, I was like, you know what? I started recording on GarageBand on my phone. Just, it sounded shitty. And then I put it on SoundCloud, and it sounded shitty, but people liked it. And I was like, oh, okay, you like my stuff? Let me like record it in a better spot. So,
Sure.
And then I started writing more. And then in 2018, I released my EP called Back to Earth. And
Which I highly recommend everyone check out.
thank you.
It's so good.
Thank you. And that, EP was important because I got out of a long-term relationship. So it was about love and heartbreak. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
100%. And so question. So you wrote this after the breakup? Was it?
Yeah. Well, the love parts
Yeah.
was written when we were together.
Okay.
The breakup songs happened after the breakup.
Wow.
And then we kind of just merged the two. And it
What a
kind
cool
of,
compilation.
yeah. Because when I first started writing the EP, like, it was great things, but then life happens, and then like I have this song called Trust, and it's about like eventually losing trust in your partner, and then once the trust is gone, the relationship will suffer. So I think right after we broke up, I wrote the song Trust, and then I also wrote a song called Stars, and it's basically saying, I can't find you. I'm looking all throughout the galaxy. I see all the stars, but I can't find you. And so
It's so beautiful. Like,
Thank
I love
you.
heartbreak songs. I don't know why.
They're
just
easier to write.
Are they?
Yeah, heartbreak songs are so, at least for me, like writing love songs, they're cool, but like heartbreak songs, I don't know, it just comes to me.
I love
I guess because you
that.
really feel it. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, just because like sometimes when after a breakup, especially, I feel like I notice a lot of artists like thrive.
I don't know. I think you just have inspiration, and you have a lot of material you can pull from. And that's what I pretty much just wrote how I felt.
But how did you do that with epilepsy? Like, how did epilepsy impact your
It
singing?
did later on.
Okay.
Because, like I said, at the first seizure I'm 90% sure that was a seizure. It didn't bother me because I didn't realize it was there. So 2017, 2018, early 2019, it was fine. I was releasing music, I was writing. It wasn't till later on in the year, after I dealt with my breakup and then moving forward, like all of this was happening. And so that's when I kind of like took a break from releasing music, because it was weird, and I was in a very emotional state, and because I didn't know what to make of all of it, because like I said, it happened all of a sudden, and I was just like, why? So I kind of took a break, and then all during COVID, I didn't release any music because I was just trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And
We were dealing with the life-changing.
yeah, so I stayed inside every day. Well, obviously because of COVID, but I stayed inside, and I was just like I was an emotional wreck. I'm not gonna lie.
I believe it. That makes sense. And like and I hate pointing out like the silver lining in this, because it just sucks, right? But like, I love that you processed it immediately, you know, and it sounds like you're still processing it, which just is like very, it's, I don't know. I feel like that's just a very healthy way to go about it, because sometimes we can go into denial when these things happen, which just slows down like the acceptance part.
There was a period of denial because I didn't want to go to the doctor. So there's, you know, like when I first had that one incident in 2018 and then 2019, like I just kept writing it off. My boyfriend's like, no. And I was like, no, it's fine. It's just, I try to find excuses for it. But then eventually I was like I have to accept it. And I did, and I still am. But
why do you think you didn't want to go to the doctor initially?
Because I think I knew there was something wrong, but I was just scared to put a label. I was scared to have a label. And so I was just like, I just wrote it off. I was just like, no, it's just because I don't even know what excuses I made, but like because my boyfriend, he saw all of it and he's like, you need to go. And I was like, no, it's fine. Don't worry. I don't know why I didn't want to go, but I just felt like I said, I didn't want a label, and I didn't know what the label would be. I didn't know it was having seizures. I wasn't sure. And I was doing research on my own because and it seemed like every symptom I had were signs of a seizure. So eventually, like once I saw that video of me falling on the floor, my boyfriend recorded it. I was like, damn it, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So
now there's like cold hard proof.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally there's proof. And so, and it's crazy seeing it and you don't remember it. Yes. And I'm just like, how did this happen? So, but yeah, now I accept it. And it's like one of those things, it is what it is. You can't really change it other than take your meds and do what your doctor says, and you know,
and just do the best you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was it like being on The Voice with epilepsy? Because I used to watch this show, especially when I was in the hospital for epilepsy, and I would watch The Voice because it was such a feel good show for me, and I just loved it, you know. And I remember thinking like, okay, but no one with epilepsy could ever be on the show. Yeah. And then like a year ago, I was like, okay, I'm wrong.
So when they asked me to be on the show or to audition, they ask you like, do you have any stories you want to share? And I was like, I do, but I don't want I don't want to have labels. I don't want to be a liability. And I was just like, yes. So, and I don't want them to know that I have it because I don't want them to be like, well, never mind. We don't want to deal with you. But my mom was like, this is a really good opportunity to share your story. You don't know who's going to relate. And I was like, and so
your mom pushing you again.
My mom's pushing. Oh, she always does. And then it wasn't until the day that I was on set that I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to talk about it. It was like, literally, it was like right before the cameras were on. And I was just like...
Oh, I have chills.
Yeah, it was right before the camera was on. And then my mom and my sister were in the shot. And that was the first... Because a lot of my family didn't even know. Friends didn't know. Because I was just scared. I don't want to tell anyone. Because it happened all of a sudden. So I didn't want to tell anyone. And so my mom was like crying. And she's like, wow, you're really sharing this. Yeah. And so my sister... she's so cold-hearted. But she actually like started crying, and I was like, wow. And it was just an emotional experience. And then the other people, like the crew, they were tearing up too. And it was just like, it was a beautiful moment because I was not expecting that. Yeah. But well,
and I think of like all of the people that are in the room that you affected by sharing this, and then I think of the millions of people watching. You know, and someone else in a hospital bed watching The Voice because they're in the EMU, and they're like, oh my God, I feel seen. Oh my God, I can do it. Oh my God, I'm inspired now.
It's completely possible to do it. Absolutely. And when it aired, I have never felt so seen in my life. Wow. The messages I received saying thank you and thank you for speaking out on a national level. And it just validated what my mom said. Because my mom was like, you don't know who you'll like touch and affect. And that literally happened. And so many people that relate to me and the same story as me. And I'm like, wow, I don't have a community of people to talk to. So the fact that these people are reaching out, it was like...
You created your own community.
I did.
Like that.
Apparently I did. Yeah. And I was not expecting that.
Totally.
Not at all. So
right. Well, especially if you're like, yeah, I just did it right. And I was like, lights,
camera,
action. Okay, here we go. Here's the thing I've been terrified to tell my family or tell anyone.
I know. And I just didn't want it to define me. I don't know.
No, that makes complete sense.
I don't want it to be, I don't want people, and I have epilepsy and it's fine, but I don't want people to see me be like, Tiana with epilepsy. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it makes complete sense.
I didn't want it to define me.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Mainly, as an artist, I want that to be the first thing that people see. But yeah, it's an ongoing process, and not only with music, with me working with children. That's also another thing that I truly enjoy. And
you work at a preschool, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God bless you. Like I don't know how you do these things.
Oh my God. They're crazy. No, but they make me so happy. Aww. And they're just so smart and funny. And just the fact that I'm able to play music with them and teach them, and it's so I have to think about, making sure that I get these full hours of sleep. I take my medication so I don't have an incident at work. Mm-hmm. So
has that ever happened?
It's happened once at an old job that I worked at. Luckily, my sister worked there with me, and I do a disclaimer to all the people. Since I got the diagnosis, I've worked at 2 different schools, and I let my employer know, just so you know, I have epilepsy. This is what a seizure would look like if I have it. So
good for you. That's not an easy conversation.
But yes, it happened at my job. I was reading a book, and then all of a sudden I dropped the book, and my sister noticed that I was making the sounds. I dropped the book. Luckily, my sister knows exactly what it looks like, so she sat me down, and then she read the book. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's hard to notice. Like, my seizures are for the most part very small, and you have to know what they look like to know that it's a seizure for the most part. Mm-hmm. So I was making the sound. Which is
a very common seizure sound, but you don't know that until you're like in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. So my sister sat me down and she read the book, and then I was sitting at the desk and I just started crying. Mm-hmm. I was like, this can't be happening. This is affecting my job. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time like reality set, like, geez, like this is really gonna affect me for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So that it happened only once. Mm-hmm. And then I think, like, for me, I have like auras. That's what it's called, right?
Or yeah, the precursor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know when it's coming, which like I have like when I feel like I'm having a seizure or when I'm about to, I get like this feeling in my stomach.
Like a heat rising?
Like it kind of feels like I have to go to the bathroom, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I feel it coming, and then if I feel like I'm going to potentially have a seizure, I go to the bathroom, mm-hmm. and I just let it ride. Mm-hmm. And then when I come to, like, I get confused, and then I eventually am okay, and then I go back to what I was doing. But it sucks because, like, when my stomach hurts, I'm always like, am I having a seizure or is just my stomach hurting?
Yep. Like, now I'm having a fake aura. Yes. And I'm getting so stressed by it, I'm going to have a real aura.
Yes. Yes. Totally. And it's such a struggle. I'm just like, But for the most part, I can tell when I'm going to have one. I just get like an overwhelming feeling. Mm-hmm. So when I broke my streak maybe a week ago, and I felt it coming, so I ran upstairs because I don't like I don't want people to see it. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think there's like an inherent need to get somewhere safe too, And
Absolutely.
So that like the fact that you're like, okay, I go to the bathroom.
That's my space.
Yeah, it's like a safe spot. Like I'll lay on the floor, and I don't have convulsive seizures. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like,
what do yours look like?
So I will zone out for like 7 minutes. And yeah, it's
That's
long.
long.
I know, they're very long, and it's so weird. But sometimes I could be like 2 minutes into one, and like someone's talking to me, and they just think I've like lost interest. And I'm like, no, and I don't know. But then like they're like, yeah, it was really weird. You were like fidgeting with your hands, and you were like, and smacking your lips.
You have that too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When my sister saw my first seizure, she just thought I was eating something, and I was not. So I was just like And it's interesting, but 7 minutes is a long time.
That's what doctors have said too, and they caught it on EEG once. And
they did?
Yeah, and they're like, that was a very long seizure, and I was like,
Jeez.
I noticed.
Were you in the doctor? Because at the doctor's when you had that 7
For my
minutes?
second epileptic seizure I ever had, yes, I was very lucky that I was hooked up to.
Yeah, because they've never caught it. And my doctor, recommended for me to have that at the house.
Yes, I've done those too.
Yeah, I've never done that for 7 days. But I work, and so I just never did that. But sometimes you don't catch it.
Such a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, well that's the thing. I've had probably 12 EEGs, like half in the hospital, half at home, and I've caught one.
Wow.
Seizure, and it was the second seizure I've ever had. So
do you do something to induce it?
We've tried.
Okay.
But it was honestly I think because it was sort of naturally induced because I was on no sleep. I had been admitted to the hospital at 5 a.m. I just got really lucky, and I didn't know how lucky I was because this was all new to me. But the guy who was the resident who was working, he walks in, he's like, yes, we got a seizure. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Because I didn't know it was good, I just had no idea.
Yeah.
And I wanted to murder him. But so many people will have an EEG and they're like, it didn't catch anything. And that's another heartbreak. Where it's when you don't, which is so fucked up because you're trying to have the thing that you try to avoid not to have.
Yes.
So it's just a huge mind fuck, And it's you're lucky if you catch one, and so many people don't. So I just try and I try and have them as little as possible now because it's just a little too much.
Yeah. So luckily mine only lasts I think the most 3 minutes my boyfriend's told me. I wouldn't know, but
yeah, right.
But usually 3 minutes. I've had ones that last just 30 seconds or something really quick. But yeah, they pretty much look the same every time I've had one.
Did you have any when you were on The Voice?
Thank God that I've never had a seizure on stage or...
I'm knocking on wood right now.
Please do.
Yep, I got you covered.
Oh my God. But no, but there was a time where we had fittings, we had to find outfits for the show. And
is that fun?
Oh, it's so fun.
Okay.
The stylist, basically you have to give them a vision board of what you want to wear. And the stylist come up with your fits, which is awesome.
That's so awesome.
But I think there was a lot of people in the fitting room. It was very overwhelming for me. And then
imagine bright lights. A lot of
there was a lot of
stuff
movement.
Going on.
I was trying on a bunch of different things, and I felt it coming. And then so I went into the dressing room, which is it's not like a door. It's just it's like curtains. And so I had one. I don't know how long it lasted. And I once I woke up from my seizure, I had no idea where I was or what I was doing.
Gosh.
I was and I had these clothes on. I'm like, why do I have these clothes on? And
that had to be so terrifying.
I was so scared. That was
Was your mom or anyone there?
No one was there. I was by myself, and nobody knew. The stylist didn't know that I had seizures. Nobody did. And so I was so scared. I eventually came out of the dressing room still not knowing what I was doing. Luckily, everything was fine. My stylist helped me, but I didn't tell anyone that I have a seizure because, like I said, I'm very shy when it comes to that. So I didn't let my stylist know. I was just what the heck?
I mean, well, and when the stakes feel so high, I would imagine that would be really hard to disclose that because sometimes it's just well, will I still be wanted around if everyone knows what's going on?
Yeah, and I just don't want to feel like a liability because... Yeah. And that's why, like I said, I was just so hesitant to share my story. But that was a scary moment. Luckily, that was the only time that I had a seizure, which is crazy because it's such a stressful situation. Yeah, you have to sing around, and then the next day after that, you have to rehearse and do all this and then sing it again and then rehearse and sing again. It's so fast paced.
I would imagine. That's what I've watched those shows too. And I'm like, okay, but the next week they're doing a different song. How many times did they rehearse this?
A shitload.
Yeah.
Especially me. Like, I'm in the, like, oh, the poor, so we're in a hotel while we're filming. The poor guests. I'm just like over here belting, just being so annoying, and they just have to deal with that. But yeah, so when I'm not singing,
they probably loved it. They're probably like,
hope
we are
so.
so lucky. We have this beautiful voice right next door to us.
You know what? Yeah, we had like some of the contestants were in the hallway and jamming out, and like some of the other guests were like, woo!
That's
so
awesome.
So that was a fun. And I love The Voice because even though it's a competition, it becomes a family. Like,
really?
Yeah, and then like a few people that were on The Voice moved to LA, and they're like some of my closest people.
Come on.
Yeah,
that is
so they did the
awesome.
show, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to move to LA. So, you stay with your Voice family after the show.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, like I said, I only had that seizure that one time. So, like you said, knock on wood, I never have a seizure on stage.
Yeah. Well, so like, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about too, is like you're performing now. Like, because you're performing pretty frequently, right?
Yeah, this year I've been performing a lot, actually, which is really cool. This is the first year that I've had consistent shows.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. I'm booking a lot of stuff, and I'm really grateful for it. Yeah, very grateful.
And like, because I just am like, yeah, you're working this full-time job with 4 and 5-year-olds that think they're adults. And then like you're performing at night. How do you sustain that? How do you like what tools do you use, or whether it be like a sleep routine or like a mental game or
Good question. I take it day by day. I just make sure that like I said, sleep. I try to get as much sleep as possible. It's kind of difficult when I have shows late at night, but also not missing medication, which I'm guilty of. And so,
aren't we all?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so, like, sometimes I take it too late. I'm like, I'm just going to skip the dosage. And I don't know if that's smart or not, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would say don't skip it.
Luckily, it's become a habit now. Like it for the most part, like it's like clockwork.
Yeah.
So with performing and all of that, I just like I said, just sleep as much as possible. Honestly, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning what to do. Luckily, I haven't had a seizure on stage. If
I'm
that
not hand-wood one more time.
Thank you. If it does happen, I honestly don't know what I do.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I don't know.
Do your bandmates know that you have epilepsy?
When I perform with musicians, I let them know.
Okay. How do they respond?
They're just like, okay, yeah, we got you. And
awesome.
so if I were to stop singing, they're gonna keep playing. They're gonna just vamp and play until I come back. And I think if that were to happen, I would just be like, oh, sorry guys, I just had a seizure. I try to make light of it, I think. And so I don't know. It's just scary to think about because then I'm not gonna know where I am.
Totally.
And so, and then the lyrics, where am I in the song? I have no idea. What song are we singing? I don't know. But I would assume that like I would just joke about it because that's what I like doing. To joke about it to make me feel happy, so I'm not like hysterically crying.
I feel you.
So I think that's what I would do, but it's a scary thought. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things that you want to prepare for, but also not like focus on.
Yes.
Right? And you have to find that fucking balance between the two, where you're like, okay, if this happens, I've told my bandmates, I've done that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it happens, we'll fucking figure it out.
Yeah,
like
that's what it is. We'll figure it out because there's not much else I can do.
Yeah, totally.
So
I just love that, like, you're still doing the thing you love, because I feel like it sometimes makes sense to give up the thing we love because of our epilepsy, and there's no judgment in that. But like the fact that you're still doing it, you're still pursuing it.
Yeah.
I think it's just very inspirational, definitely to me, and I'm sure many other people out there. Like, and I just appreciate you just trying, and being out there. And not only trying, you're fucking slaying. Like,
thank you. No, but since it took a while, it took like 2 years. And like I said, 2024, this is the first year that I'm consistently doing shows. So, it took a while, but I feel comfortable after 4 years of dealing with this. I'm at a space where I feel confident and I'm able to do these shows. But thank you for that because, I'm glad that people can see and be inspired to do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
So.
And what would you say to like someone who like, or I guess what would you have said to yourself like 4 years ago? Or someone, or if it helps, if it's a little easier, like someone who, just got diagnosed is pursuing, you know, a singing songwriting career too. What advice would you have?
I would say just try to find the balance of both. If you just got diagnosed, learn about it, study it, and whatever type of seizures you have, just be close with your doctor, ask all the questions you need to, but don't let it stop you. And that's, you know, I stopped for a little bit, but I don't know, just keep going. I know that sounds so corny, just keep going.
No, but
it's so
you
corny,
need to hear it though. Like
Yeah.
in those moments when, you know, like when you're dealing with the first slap in the face
Yeah.
of epilepsy, it's like you need to hear that. Just keep going.
Just keep going. That's all you
Even
can
if
do.
you take a break like you did, you know, like, and I think that's important too, because like I know so many people, myself included, had to stop doing things that we loved, especially initially, just to adjust to this new lifestyle.
Absolutely.
You know, but like here you did stop, but here you are.
I'm back at it.
Yeah. Fucking at it. Like you're just fucking at it. You're not even back. You are moving forward at it. Like
Hell
you
yeah.
are. Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah. You're doing more than trying.
Yeah. So, and it also depends on like the type of seizures you have. I can only speak on mine. So I'm able to, you know, deal with things differently. But like at the end of the day, keep going. As corny as that is.
I love that.
It's
but you're
true.
speaking through lived experience. So
Absolutely.
it takes away the corniness.
Thank you.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
Well, before we end here, I want to ask you 4 questions that are completely unrelated to everything we just talked about.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. First one's easy.
All right.
Number 1, what's your favorite color?
Oh, okay. So I'm always like a very earthy tones type of girl. So recently my favorite
You are
color-
rocking these earthy tones
Yeah,
right
thank
now.
you.
So
This
that
is,
makes sense.
I'm very I love browns. I think foresty green is like my favorite color.
Oh, that's
I think that, and then like a burnt orange. I think those are kind of like, I think those go together well. So I've
such
kind
an
of
artist answer. They're like so specific and cool colors. I love it.
Yeah, those are like my go-tos right now. But they change. But
Yeah.
right now, those are the 2 that I like.
Again, artists. They change. I love it. I love it. Number 2, what is your favorite show or movie to watch, or what's a show you're watching right now or a movie you just watched?
Okay,
If you had to give a
so-
recommendation.
So I'm such a huge cooking show girl. I love reality TV. So I've been watching Master Chef. I think that's what it's called. I'm such a Gordon
yeah.
Ramsay fan. If I saw him in public, I'd fangirl so hard. I don't know what it is about Gordon Ramsay. So I watch all of his shows, and then like when I just want to put something on when I just don't care what it is, I've been watching Community. Which I think Community is pretty funny.
It is.
It's so silly.
That
but-
ensemble is really good.
yeah, it is, and so I've been watching that, and I like it. It's funny. So yeah,
That's an
cooking
old school
shows,
one, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So and then also another like old school one, Malcolm in the Middle. I'll put that on if I can't
Nice.
think of anything. So Hulu is like my go-to. I love Hulu.
Totally. Because like I love how you said like if I can't think of anything, boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just put that on in the background.
Nice.
So
Okay. Number 3, what does it mean to you to be a friend?
what does it mean to me to be a friend? Oh, that's a good question. I think being a friend means being an unconditional support. And when I think of friends, I know my sisters are my sisters, but they're truly my best friends because I can be my 100% self. I can talk about whatever the heck I want, be stupid, just talk shit. Like, I think a friend is you can talk shit with. And then also, like, if you spend a lot of time apart, once you get back together, like, it's like you've never been apart. And I appreciate that because I have like one of my best friends, Jasmine. Shout out to Jasmine, I love you. You know, she lives pretty far from me. She lives in San Francisco, so honestly, it's not that far. But you know, we go a while without talking, and then when we get back together, that's my girl. But I think just being a friend is just having the unconditional love, being there through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then being truthful, being real. If they fucked up, be like, you fucked up, or I love you, but you're wrong. But you know, and then just being able to debate and disagree and then come back and say, you know what, I love you.
Right.
And so I don't know.
I love that. Yeah, because it's like even you don't have to agree on everything to be a friend with someone.
No.
Right?
No.
And also that picking up where you left off, where it's like not like it's been like 2 days or maybe it's been 2 years, but it feels like no time at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, but my sisters, like, they're my best friends, and I truly love them. Like, they're my besties.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Okay, last question. Number 4. What is one self-care thing that you do that you absolutely love?
I like to go on walks. Like, my job, it's like a 20-minute walk. So I prefer walking, obviously listening to music. That's like a self-care for me. What else? I don't know. I probably should have more.
Those are 2 really good ones, though.
Is it? Okay.
Oh my God, going on a walk, because sometimes
I've been
it's hard
walking a lot.
Really, that's awesome. I feel like it's just so good for your brain.
Absolutely.
Just to get out of whatever space you're in and like take a moment, you know?
So I walk with my headphones in, and that's a really big self-care thing for me. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I should have more because I can't even think of anything else.
No, well, you've got 2 solid ones.
What about you? What's like your self-care thing?
Painting my nails.
Oh, that's a good one.
It just stops me. It makes me stop whatever I'm doing, and I can't focus on anything else. I can't multitask, and I have to just kind of sit and focus on something that makes me happy because I love having color on my nails. Like, it's just like one of those things that, like, I know no one else notices this but me.
Oh, they're cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm assuming, is blue your favorite color?
It's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't decide on the favorite color, but yes, blue and red are
really
like my
cute.
go-tos. Thank you. And glitter. Anything glitter is also my favorite color.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so if anyone listening wants to find your music, you can obviously go to Instagram, and it's at Tiana Goss.
Yes.
Which is Goss.
Goss. You
Yes.
can find me there. You can pretty much find me there. Find me anywhere with my name.
Yep.
So
Spotify, Apple, all the streaming services.
all the stuff.
And very soon, by the time this airs, you will be performing at the Cameron Boyce Foundation Gala.
I am, for the 2nd year in a row.
That's so awesome.
And what an amazing foundation. They're just trying to raise money to solve epilepsy, to find cures. And so I it's such a beautiful foundation. And so the fact that they asked me to come a second time and sing for them, I'm so happy. And
does not surprise me.
Oh, they're amazing.
They really are.
And they're fighting for such an important cause. So the fact that I'm able to sing for them a 2nd year in a row, hopefully I can help raise money. Just hopefully my voice is a tool for them to raise money. So that's the goal.
Well, that's what your mom taught you.
Amen.
You know? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
appreciate
Landis.
it so much. You are the absolute best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.